For more on the situation right now, we want to bring in Jimmy Patronis. He is the Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida. And Jimmy, we've spoken with you in the past about some of the issues you're facing there with insurance companies having a hard time making sure that people there actually can get insurance. And when they do, it's going to be quite a bit more expensive. What's the situation with the Idalia? How are things faring there? What have you seen just in terms of people at this point and any potential damage?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Becky. And in the state of Florida, I wear a few different hats. I'm also the state fire marshal. So we're still coordinating urban search and rescue searches right now. 100% of what are called hasty searches have been completed in a number of the affected counties. So the silver lining to this is Idalia did go through one of the least populated areas of the state. It was a very narrow part of the state, but it was also a very fast-moving storm. So fast-moving storms don't have an opportunity to dump as much rain. The flooding has a different effect when the water has to go somewhere. So again, if there was a path that Idalia could take that was the best output for at least the insurance market in Florida, it took it, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, we're grateful for it and very thankful to hear that news. The broader problem, though, just what's going on. This is the beginning of hurricane season. You got several months left. The waters are very warm right now, and there is potential for more. Where do things stand? As Contessa mentioned, you guys have taken steps to try and ensure that there's less fraud taking place and that it's a lot harder to scam things through the legal system. That's good news. But if you look, some insurance companies have pulled out. Citizens, which is the insurer of last resort, I think now has something like 1.3 million people or homeowner policies on it versus something like, what was it, 400,000 back in 2019? That's right. A real issue. How do you assess that situation?
Sure. So the Florida market with Citizens, it swells and grows over the last 10 years. If you go back and reflect on 2010, Citizens was actually bigger in a size than it is currently right now. So right now, Citizens has requests for 300,000 takeout policies. That's all good news. Most of those carriers, though, that are coming into the market, the new carriers that you mentioned, they're interested in coming into the Florida market in October, November. And look, if you're an investor, you can't blame them. They're going to wait and come in at the tail end or at the end of hurricane season, just less liability of your book of business. So those trends are there. What we also learned is 70% of all litigation that originated nationwide originated out of the state of Florida, right. Yet only 7% of all claims originate out of the state of Florida. Right. So that's why we had to fix our insurance market. That's why we had 2 special sessions. And as we closed the litigation loopholes that existed, it also is going to have a dramatic effect on the fraud that was gaming the system.
The other problem, though, is that Citizens, look, I get it. You have to make sure that homeowners who can't get a policy elsewhere have a place to get it. From what I've read, Citizens rates are about 40% lower than the rates that are charged by most private insurers. The problem is if they go belly up, if they go bankrupt and run out of funds for things, it's a fee that's going to be charged, an assessment on all insurance companies in the state of Florida, so that if you're somebody who, assuming those costs will get passed on to Florida consumers, if you're somebody who just has a car and is buying for auto insurance in the state of Florida, you can't afford a house, you're still going to be dealing with the assessment fees that get passed on to all the insurers. This happened last time, I think, in the 2004-2005 season, and there were 10 years of assessments that got dealt with to deal with the 10 hurricanes that had hit during that season. And that's a little bit weird, too, because I know Citizens has asked to increase rates. I think they just got turned down for an increase of 12.1% they were seeking.
Well, and you're spot on. Look, when you've got a Florida legislature that plays into the policymaking process of the insurance of last resort, they get their buttons pushed by their constituents. So there is a glide path that's in place that allows Citizens in order to try to get the rates that it needs. And look, it's kind of a happy medium you got to be able to strike. But the trends that I'm seeing are there. The trends I'm seeing are good. There is interest coming into the Florida market. And this is not the first time we've faced this exact same scenario. Now, the other things that have happened are Hurricane Cat Fund, our state's own reinsurance program. It's got more cash in it now than it's ever had. We still put those systems in place. We learned a lot of lessons after the storms of 2004 and 2005 after Hurricane Andrew. And we know we've got to keep the bigger reserves in order to help the state of Florida be able to provide an affordable insurance. We've got a AAA bond rating for the last 5 years in a row by all three major credit rating agencies. They would not give us that if we weren't doing the right things financially. And Citizens can be a liability to the citizens of the state of Florida, to the government of the state of Florida. If I'm sitting on $20 billion in reserves, it's typically been at about $4 billion in reserves.
Jimmy, how are the conversations going with private insurers? There had been some insurers who had pulled out and said, we're not going to do right business there anymore because it's too risky. We don't think we'll be able to get return. How are your conversations going with those private insurance companies at this point?
Well, look, I think, we've talked about it before. I've beat up on farmers. Some of them frustrated on how they handled their exit from the Florida market. I was mad of how they let captive agents with no products to sell. But look, they got bigger problems to deal with than Florida. They're cutting 2,400 positions right now as we speak. So again, I'm optimistic simply because my phone has been ringing because capital that wants to come to the Florida market. 400,000 people moved to the state of Florida last year alone. That's new residents when you're seeing a mass exits from other states. So there is a market that is growing in Florida. And again, we continue to try to create the environment through litigation reform, through closing loopholes, which ultimately, again, it fixes the fraud problem. The fraud is this area of gray. And look, yesterday I went and cruised the parking lots of Taylor County where the storm made landfall. And I saw a lot of shady-looking characters already pre-staging in their RVs and campers planning on going door to door. And I would go door to door with those people also with our lights on and tell them that your games that you're going to play in the Florida market, especially after a storm, after people are vulnerable, is simply not welcome and we'll run you off.